Mahkama du Pacha is a courthouse located in the city of Casablanca. It is built in 1952 in the Habous corridor. Mahkama du Pacha is identified by a structure of which the outside reacts with the inside and where rough and ground elements are complemented with refined and detailed elements. Transition spaces connect these characteristics and complete the composition of this building. Throughout the whole building, the ratios and logics of the elements are carefully thought of. Similar aspects occur in the habous corridor. This neighborhood is constructed of patios, courtyards and transition spaces as well. The appearance and representation of these elements alternate between ground rough structures and more detailed colorful structures. Only this time these characteristics are the result of human actions instead of solemnly architectural implementations. Similarities appear in the used architectural language, both in form as in material. This results in a coherent look and feel of this district. The arrangement of the patios, courtyard and transition spaces don't appear in the same order in Mahkama du Pacha compared to the habous. The main difference is that in the composition of Mahkama du Pacha, the smaller patio is located more closely to the entrance of the building and the bigger courtyard deeper within the building, whereas in the habous this is the other way around. For Mahkama, the relation between public life and the building is very strict. There is a clear line that separates one from the other. In the habous, there is more connection between the buildings and the public life. The arcade creates an in-between space and invites people to walk through it. The material composition shows great similarity. Both facades are composed of a sandstone base with a white plastered wall on top. The gates are fully constructed out of sandstone and therefore are emphasized as entrance block within the facade. The ratio of the arch of the gate of Mahkama is 1/3 as compared to the base of 2/3, whereas for the habous that ratio is 2/3 for the arch compared to 1/3 for the base. The first transition is by entering the gate. When entering Mahkama, you pass the guard, steps and doors of the gate, which gives it a closed appearance. When entering the habous, the gate is the only element that creates this transition. The pavement stays the same and creates a funnel effect, which is welcoming you in. In Mahkama, the second part of the transition is created by elements of an arch, a decorated gate, a corner you have to turn and some steps. For the habous, there is only a second arch that marks the transition. The final stage of the transition in Mahkama du Pacha is where the materiality starts to change. From the exterior materials, it now turns into the mosaics and decorated plaster of the interior. There is also one final corner to turn and an arch to pass through. In the habous, this last transition is conceived by passing through a last arch. Where in the habous the transition is quite short, clear and with 3 similar arches right behind each other, in Mahkama du Pacha this transition space is more elaborated. Not only does it have arches, it adds elements such as steps, turns and changes in materiality. Both the patio of Mahkama as well as the habous consist of arches. In Mahkama, different ratios are applied which emphasize the middle arch and thereby bring attention to the center of the patio. In the habous, one ratio is applied to all arches, which creates more of a neutral, repetitive composition. Zooming in on one of the arches, we find that it consists of a certain ratio and that it is mathematically proportioned. In Mahkama du Pacha, 2 complete circles fit into the arch, whereas in the habous this is 1 complete circle. Both arches and thereby patios are richly decorated. However, the implementations differ from being purely architectural to human adaptations. In the decoration of Mahkama, symmetry and rationality are used to create the geometric forms in the plaster and mosaics. The architecture in the habous is a neutral background for the fabrics and items of the shop owners to give that same richness in decoration. Another transition space connects the patio with the courtyard. Again, these transition spaces start and end with arches. This time the composition in the habous has more steps and turns to take than in Mahkama. Both paths are richly decorated, the difference being the architectural versus the human implementation. In Mahkama du Pacha, the colorful mosaics and the plaster define the space, as opposed to the bright and colorful carpets of the shops of the habous. These courtyards are composed in a similar way. They each have a main entrance which positions itself in the middle of the facade. They are emphasized by implementing them as bigger blocks within the facade. Next to these entrances, arcades are located with arches opening up to them. The scale of the entrance arches are similar to the ones of the main gates. This is a returning aspect which connects the outer exterior to this inner exterior. Material-wise, these courtyards are similar to each other as well. The main entrances are made of sandstone as well as the arches leading to the arcades. The entrance block of Mahkama du Pacha has slightly more details applied to it in terms of dimensions and depths. As seen in this journey, there are multiple elements that reoccur in both situations, differing in order, form and materiality, but still very comparable. The human implementations in the habous act in a similar way as the decoration in Mahkama. Their refinement in materiality creates an intimacy that makes them part of the interior. The forms and materiality of the exterior are part of the same architectural family. Therefore, the habous embraces Mahkama du Pacha into the neighborhood.